belly button to the spine, tuck your tailbone under, nice neutral spine, lengthening your shoulders down your back pockets, little orange underneath your chin, always pulling that belly button to the spine. So we're just going to start with, we're going to start with a roll down, but we're going to hold on to our hips. Some of you might want to go a little bit further and lengthen your arms up to the ceiling. But the rest of us, we're going to hold on to our hips, keeping that nice straight back. Pull your belly button to the spine. If you want to, you can hold on to your thighs. So you can feel a deep stretch in the muscles in the back of your legs. And then C-curve your spine back to center. If you want to deepen your stretch, you do your Pilates stance. So I'm hinging forward from the hips, legs coming out my tailbone. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, feeling a nice deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs. Pilates stance or regular stance, and C-curve your spine. We're going to do it one more time, full roll down for people with no lumbar spine issues. So I'm being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head, lights from my tailbone. Nice straight back. Those with lumbar spine issues, roll back up. But those with no lumbar spine issues, we're going to do a full roll down. C-curve your spine. Let the top of your body hang. Squeeze your glutes, micro bend in the knees. Let the top of your body hang. Really pull the belly button to your spine so you can feel you're restacking your spine in sequential order using your deep core muscles. You should feel that using your deep core muscles. And back to center, just stretching that spine, elongating the spine. Regular Pilates, regular stance. We're going to sit into our seat as though we're picking up a present, a box on the floor. So remember, pushing into your heels, and we're sitting into our seat, squat. Your range of motion might be here, might be a little bit lower. We're picking up a box, pull the belly button to the spine, keep a straight back, and then push into your heels, and then sunrise. Only if you want to, you can come up onto your tiptoes. Lengthen your arms, and then you're picking up a box, sitting into your seat. Nice straight back, pull the belly button to the spine, come as low as you can, push into your heels, and sunrise. Lengthening your arms over your head. We'll do one more. Lengthen. Just warming everything up. Sit into your seat. Imagine you're just about to sit on a chair. Your range of motion might be a few centimeters. You might be able to come a little bit deeper. Push into your heels, not your toes. And sunrise. Lengthen. You might want to come up onto your tiptoes. And back to center. Increase your stance just wider than hip width apart. We're just going to do lateral side bend. We lengthen our arm up to the ceiling, hold on to your hip. Those with lumbar spine issues, if not, you're either going to lengthen your arm down your thigh, or some of you might want to come over with two arms, but that puts a lot more pressure on your lumbar spine. Choose the level that's good for you. And we lift and lengthen. Being pulled by a piece of string, micro bend to the knees. So I'm feeling a deep stretch in the hips and the waist. I'm in between two panes of glass. Lengthen. Hold on to your hip if you get pressure on the lumbar spine. Pull your belly button to the spine and lengthen back to center. We'll do the other side. Either hold on to your hip, lengthen your arm down your leg, or some of you might be doing double arms. This puts a lot more pressure on the lumbar spine. Don't do it if you get pressure on the lumbar spine. So I'm lengthening my arms away from each other. Lengthen back to center. So we're stretching, but strengthening because we're holding the stretch. Keep the arm lengthened. Hand on your hip, lumbar spine issues. Lengthen your arm down your leg. If you really want to challenge yourself, but that puts a lot more pressure on your lumbar spine. Just do one more. Really sticking out that hip. I'm in between double glazing. I'm not rocking forward or backwards. And lengthen back to center. Just shake it out. Little bit of neck flexion. Just hold on to your head. Just use the weight of your arm just to deepen the stretch in the muscles in your neck. And push your palm down to the floor. And just as though, imagine your fingers are going up to the ceiling. Feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in your neck and on top of your shoulders. And back to center on the other side. A little bit of pressure on your head, but just the weight of your arm. Palm comes down to the floor, fingers up to the ceiling. and back to center. Now we're doing another, if those with lumbar spine issues, I want you to step forward and come down to the mat. Those with no lumbar spine issues, we're doing a full roll down to get down to the mat. Let the top of your body hang. Pull your belly button to the spine, micro bend in the knees. Really pull that belly button to the spine. Let the top of your body hang. Push into your heels, tailbone up to the ceiling. So we're being pulled by a piece of string, pushing my tailbone up to the ceiling, feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs and elongating my spine. Hinging from the hips. The length comes from the hips. And then we just step down to the mat and come to seated. Now, we're just going to do a little spine twist. Some of you might want to sit on your block, and you might want weights in your hand, or you might want a band. So I'm just going to face the camera. You're just going to have your legs lengthened in front. If there's a little bend, that's okay. We're just going to keep our arms lengthened. You don't have to use a band. You can feel there's tension in your shoulders, don't use a band. Or you might want to use some weights. You'll feel it, really feel it in the weights with a weights or a band. So you choose the equipment that's good for you or nothing at all. So lengthen up, we're going to rotate. Rotate to my right, to your left. Nose stays in between your chest. Rotation of your upper spine. Now we're going to pulse, pulse. Lengthen back center, pull your belly button to the spine, over to my left, your right, pulse, pulse. I'm really feeling that in my waist, stretching the muscles in my back. Over to the left, pulse, pulse. One more, lengthen up, pull the belly button to your spine, really lengthen your arms. Nose stays between your chest, pulse, pulse, and lengthen, lengthen back to center. Drop the band. We just do our tricep spine stretch like we do most weeks. So if those, just grab your band, put the band underneath the arch of your feet. We're going to lengthen up. Pull your belly button to the spine. Remember, straight back, protecting your lumbar spine. So we hinge from the hips, flex your feet, pull your belly button to the spine, elbows tucked into your rib cage. Now I'm hinging from the hips, I'm being pulled by a piece of string, keeping that back nice and straight. Now keep the elbows tucked into the rib cage as you lift and lengthen your arms behind you, feeling it in the triceps. I've got a blue band, you can have the band as slack, as tight as you want, or you might have some weights in your hands. It's up to you, or nothing at all. See, curve your spine back to center. So we lengthen up, hinge from the hips. I'm being pulled by a piece of string, but I'm really hinging from the hips, and the length is coming from the hips, straight back. Elbows tucked into my rib cage, lengthen and lift. For some of you with no lumbar spine issues, you can round and curl your spine. You're being pulled by a piece of string from the crown of the head. So I'm just deepening the stretch a little bit. Don't do this with lumbar spine issues. Elbows tucked into your rib cage. C-curve your spine back to center. And we do one more. So lovely deep stretch, hinge from the hips. Being pulled by a piece of string, but I can really feel the length is coming from my hips. Flex your feet. Elbows tucked into your rib cage. Lengthen and lift your arms behind. Holding it for 2-3 seconds, can really feel that in my triceps. Lengthen and lift. For those with no lumbar spine issues, you can round and curl your spine a little bit more. And then C-curve your spine, pulling your belly button to the spine, back to center. If you just drop your band, we're just going to stretch out the triceps. Lengthen up. Arms next to your ears if you can. Hinge forward. Elongating our spine. Flex your feet. Hinging from the hips. Being pulled. If it's too much on your lumbar spine, hold on to your thighs. Being pulled by a piece of string. Really lengthen those arms to stretch the triceps. Then C-curve your spine. Back to seated. We're going to slowly roll down like we normally do. So you choose if you want assistance of the band. Level 1. 2, keep the elbows open. Level 3, keep those elbows open. So really relax the feet. I'll start in level 2. Lean back by an inch. Tuck in your pelvis. C-curve your spine. Some of you might have your cheek cushion. underneath your lumbar spine. And I'm scooping my pelvis, pulling my belly button to the spine, trying to turn my spine into a wheel. Relax the feet, relax the legs. Remember to breathe. Slowly, slowly, feeling it in the core. And I'm really scooping my pelvis here. I want every single vertebrae to hit the mat. Relaxing my feet. Now this is my sweet spot. This is where you might roll onto your cushion. Remember to breathe. You don't want to feel dizzy. Slowly roll down, really feeling it in the deep core muscles. But also teaching our spine to be flexible because we're hitting every single vertebrae on the mat. Hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Crossing your ankles if you can, pulling your knees apart. Some of you might want to deepen your stretch, lengthening your arms over your head. I forgot my weights. Or you might want to lengthen and lift your legs up to the ceiling along with your head and shoulders. Now everyone come into supine. Tee your arms, glue your knees together, glue your ankles together. We're doing the lower spine stretch now. Really good for those with lumbar spine issues. So I'm gluing my ankles and knees together. Squeeze your knees as you drop your knees to the left. Look to the right. Everyone's feet stay on the floor. And now can you see my top knee comes closer to my elbow? So I'm feeling a deep stretch in my lumbar spine. So you might be able to float your top knee maybe a foot away from your elbow, or you might be able to get your top knee closer, feeling a deeper stretch in my lumbar spine. Then my knees come together. And squeeze your knees, pull your belly button to the spine, hardly any pressure under the soles of your feet. Core doing the work. Drop your knees to the right, look to the left. My arms are at T. And I'm going to float my top knee as close to my elbow as possible. You might be able to come up by a couple of inches. You might be able to touch your knee on your elbow. I cannot. But I'm feeling a deeper stretch in my lumbar spine. Really good for stretching the lumbar spine, those with lumbar spine issues. My knees come together. Squeeze my knees, hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. And back to center. Can you hug your left knee to your chest? Lengthen your right leg away. Really relax the muscles. Hug your left knee to the chest. And bring that knee slightly out to the side so your thigh skin's your rib cage, but keep on lengthening through the hip joint. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle your ankle, not the back of your knee, and push into your heel. Start circling one way and then the other. A little bit more core work. You can lengthen and lift your head and shoulders off the mat, still feeling that deep stretch. Bend your knee, lengthen it away, and bring up your right leg. Now lengthen through the hip joint, relax the muscles, hug your knee to the chest, bring your right knee slightly out to the side, thigh skins your rib cage. Hold on to your hamstring, calf muscle your ankle, not the back of your knee, push into your heel. Start circling one way, then the other. Some of you might want to lengthen and lift your head and shoulders. So feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in the back of my legs, but also working my deep core muscles. Or some of you might choose just to keep your head and shoulders on the mat. And bring your legs to supine, and we start the one leg circle. So you choose the arm position that's good for you, with or without weights. So your hands can be on the mat, up to the ceiling, lengthen your arms over your head. You know how it works. Make sure you keep your elbows open if you choose to peel your head and shoulders off the mat. So we're going to do one leg circle. So I'm going to start with my right leg up to tabletop. And remember, you're totally switching off the muscles in your leg and your foot. Imagine there's a pencil shooting out from your knee. And you're going to start drawing a perfect circle on the ceiling. That pencil shoots out from your knee and you're drawing a perfect big circle. I have hardly any pressure under that supporting foot. And my pelvis doesn't move at all. Bowl soup on my pelvis. Slow, controlled circles. I can really feel that in my core already. progression. You lengthen that circling leg, drawing a perfect circle with a pencil that shoots out from your toe. Hardly any pressure from that supporting foot, or you can choose to lengthen that supporting leg. Big circles. Pull the belly button to spine. Think about melting the rib cage into the mat. And the circles as big as possible. As soon as you start flaring out your rib cage, reduce your range of motion. Choose the arm position that's good for you. Come in the opposite direction. Big circles. Got hardly any pressure under that supporting foot or extended leg. Hardly any pressure. I'm feeling it in the quads and I'm feeling it in the deep core muscles now. Choose the arm position that's good for you. Big circles, your pelvis doesn't move at all. One more circle, then we'll do the other leg. Big, big, big circles, my pelvis doesn't move at all. Then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. We'll go straight to the other side. You choose the level that's good for you. You might want to get straight into position, but I'm going to take you up the progressions. So I have a pencil shooting out from my knee, and I'm going to start drawing a perfect circle on the ceiling. Pelvis doesn't move. Hardly any pressure under that supporting foot. Really feeling it in my deep core muscles. Relax the muscle in the leg. All comes from the hip joint. Stir the porridge from the hip joint. If you want to progress, extend that leg. Big circles. Pelvis doesn't move. Or you can extend that supporting leg. So I have hardly any pressure under my supporting leg or extended leg. Hardly any pressure. Come in the opposite direction. Big circles. I'm really thinking about my pelvis not moving, grains of sand not moving. Hardly any pressure under the supporting foot or leg. Choose the arm position that's good for you. Muscles are aching in my legs. Core's really aching. And I'm drawing a big circle without moving that pelvis. We'll just do a couple more. Pull the belly button to the spine. One more. Then hug the knees to the chest and rock from side to side. Try to cross your ankles, pulling your knees apart, or lengthen your legs over your head, or a little bit more core work, peeling your shoulders off the mat. We're going to go straight into diamond leg lower. So you can choose to put a loop band around your thighs. And I forgot to put my weights on my wrists and my ankles. So some of you might have wrist and ankle weights. So I'm going to bring my knees up to tabletop and I'm going to cross my ankles. Now, if it's too difficult to bring both knees up to tabletop, you can do this one with one leg. I'm going to show you from this position here. So my knees are up to tabletop. I'm crossing my ankles, really pulling my knees apart. So I've got a nice big diamond. If that's too uncomfortable, you just do one leg, but you're still pulling your knee to the side. So you choose the arm position that's good for you. You know how it works. And it's diamond leg lower. So I'm really creating a big diamond, and then I lower and lengthen my legs as far as I can go. Skinny diamond. Fat diamond. I'm going to show you on the side as well. Lengthening out my legs. Skinny diamond. Really feeling that in the core. So diamond leg lower. Crossing your ankles. Pulling your knees apart. So I'm feeling it in the thighs and the quads as well as my core, feeling it in the glutes. So I lower my legs, lengthen those legs away as close as I can to the mat, and back to tabletop, pulling my knees apart. Lengthening my legs away as close to the mat as possible. And fat diamond, pulling my knees apart, feeling it, all the muscles being used in my thighs, my glutes, in my core. You choose the arm position that's good for you. The aim is to get those legs as close to the floor as possible. Skinny diamond, pull my knees apart. Fat diamond, glutes are burning, thighs are burning. Pull that belly button to the spine, skinny diamond. Fat diamond, really pulling my knees apart. Swap legs for those doing one leg only. But remember, you've got to pull your knee out to the side. So you might have a range of motion just by a few inches. Or you might be able to lengthen your legs closer to the mat. So I'm pulling my knees apart here. Lengthening. Really feeling that in the quads now, in my core. Pulling my knees apart. We'll just do a couple more. I'll show you. Tabletop. Fat diamond. Lengthening my legs away. Thin diamond. Pulling my knees apart. Let's just make it a final one. I can really feel that in the quads, feeling it in the core, feeling it in the glutes. Pulling my knees apart, and then hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Crossing your ankles, pulling your knees apart if you can, or lengthening your arms, your legs over your head, or up to the ceiling. If you can just grab your ball, put your ball between your knees. We're just going to stretch our lateral sides and tee your arms with or without your weights. So squeeze the ball. I've got hardly any pressure under the soles of my feet. Some of you might do this at tabletop if you want to deepen the stretch and just work your core a little bit harder. Squeeze the ball. Pull your belly button to the spine. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lumbar spine issues, don't come up to tabletop. And you're going to drop your knees over to the left, look to the right, squeeze the ball, feeling that in the core, and lengthen your top leg. Don't lengthen your top leg if you've got lumbar spine issues. Bend your knees, squeeze the ball, and squeeze the ball back center, melting your rib cage into the mat. And over to the right, squeezing the ball, look in the opposite direction, and lengthen the top leg away. Really squeeze the ball. Lengthen through the hip joint. Relax the foot. Really squeeze from the knee joint. Bend the knee. Bring your knee back to center. One more. Some of you might be doing this in tabletop. Relax the feet. Squeeze the ball over to the left. Look to the right. Lengthen out the top leg as long as you don't get lumbar spine issues. Bend the knee. Squeeze the ball. Relax the feet. Squeeze the ball back center, feeling it in my inner thighs, feeling it in the deep core muscles, over to the right, look to the left. Lengthen those arms away at T. And as I said, if you get pressure in the shoulders, just reduce the range of motion of your T, so my arms are closer to my thighs. Can you see? So your arms at T, if you get pressure in the shoulders, just bring your hands down a little bit. Back center, hugging your knees to your chest, drop the ball, pulling your knees apart, or lengthening your arms over your head, legs over your head. Not onto your neck, just your shoulders, or a little bit more core work. Full body stretch. Pull your belly button to the spine, melt the rib cage into the mat, and try to lengthen your toes and fingers really far from each other. Still melting the rib cage into the mat, pulling your belly button to the spine, and we roll straight to the side. We're going to start with, you can choose if you want a loop band around your thighs. We're going to start with leg circles. Now you choose the arm position that's good for you. You know how it works. Make sure your shoulders stacked over your elbow, or you're holding onto your temples. Choose the arm position that's good for you. Now, in between that double glazing, if you find you're wobbling all over the place, bring your bottom leg slightly out in front. For this one, the aim is to have two nice straight legs, but you don't want to wobble all over the place. That pelvis needs to stay completely vertical. We're doing circles around, a nice big circle, so much bigger than a plateau if you can. So I'm lengthening my top leg away, pelvis is stacked. Vertical pelvis, I lengthen and lift, relax that foot, lengthen through the hip joint. And we're going to start to do nice big circles. Slow and controlled. We're going to do 3 one way, and 3 the other. Now this is your own personal challenge. Rest whenever you like and in the opposite direction. Nice big circles without disturbing any part of your body. Relax the foot. All the movement comes from the hip joint. So I'm doing 3 one way, 3 in the opposite direction. Really feel that in my glutes. Now coming in the opposite direction. Rest whenever you like. Nice big circle. Remember, if you're wobbling all over the place, bring that bottom leg slightly out in front. 3 one way, 3 the other. I'm increasing, I'm just challenging myself a little bit, coming onto my elbow, really feeling that in the quads, in the thighs, in the glutes. Pelvis stays completely vertical. Going to challenge myself a little bit more. Rest whenever you like and come back into position. Let's just do 3 more. And 3, final one. Just pat it out, because I do want to do another exercise. Just pat it out. Pat it out. You choose the arm position that's good for you, whether you want your bottom leg slightly lengthened out in front. Pull your belly button to the spine. We're going to hug our knee to our chest. Lengthen just higher than hip height, and then float up your leg. Just above hip height. Hug your knee to your chest. Try to relax the foot. Lengthen, lengthen and lift just above hip height. Just above hip height. Hug your knee to your chest. Lengthen. Glutes are burning, thighs are burning. We'll just do a few. You choose the arm position that's good for you. Hugging your knee to your chest. Lengthening out just above hip height. Lengthen and lift. All from the hip joint. Look at your pelvis. Make sure your pelvis rests whenever you like. It's vertical. The only thing that's moving, my glutes are burning, it's my leg and my hip joint. Let's just do a couple more. Really feeling that in the glutes. But really, everything is coming from the hip joints. Really try to relax that foot. Rest whenever you like. Let's make it the final one. Glutes are on fire now. One more. And then just touch it out, really touch it out. And we go straight into open book. Now, I know we're not doing bow and arrow again, but I'm going to be very nice. If you don't want to use your legs, we're going to increase the range of motion. Don't do it, because we have been doing a lot of glute work, especially with the leg lower. And then we did the circles, then we did our hugging our knee to our chest. So it's up to you if you want to incorporate your leg. I'm going to be really nice today, so I don't have to see legs swinging on the camera. So bend your knees in front, arms in front, lying on the edge of your block. Lengthen and lift your leg, either diagonally across if you want to incorporate the leg. If not, just leave it lengthened diagonally across, making sure that pelvis is nice and vertical. If you want to incorporate the leg, maybe you could just once. We're going to do 3 bow and arrows. You lengthen your top leg diagonally across. Lengthen your top arm longer than your bottom, with or without your equipment. My top arm comes across my bottom arm, across my chest, and I open up my bow and arrow. This is where we're increasing our range of motion. My leg comes in front. I'm going to see if I can get it a little bit higher. And then close your book. Swinging your leg behind you as you close your book, lengthen and lift behind. Remember, you don't have to incorporate your leg, or maybe you just want to do one with a leg. And the other 2, you can just rest. Lengthen my top arm, longer than my bottom. My hand comes across my bottom arm, across my chest, head follows my hand. I open up my bow and arrow, increasing my range of motion. And close my book. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Keep that leg at hip height if you're incorporating your leg. Lengthen and lift behind. Pull the belly button to the spine. Relax that foot. One more. Lengthen your top arm, longer than your bottom. Top hand comes across your arm, across your chest. Head follows your hand. Increasing the range of motion of my leg. Your range of motion might be here, might be here, might be a little bit deeper. Range of motion is personal. Keep that leg at hip height if it's not just rested diagonally across. Lengthen the lift behind. Let's hold it for a couple of seconds. And then bend the knee and just pat it out. We're going to roll straight into supine, into our bridge. And you choose if you want to loop band around your thighs. You don't have to have any. And you choose if you want a band around your hips. You don't have to have any small equipment at all. Now, for some of you, I was meant to ask you this beforehand. If some of you find, I know I've spoken to a couple of you, coming up to the bridge is quite difficult. I was going to say, if you find it quite difficult coming up to the bridge, you can hold on to your hips like this. So it just keeps you in alignment. So if you're struggling a little bit, just hold on to the top of your pelvis, so it's your hips, the top of your pelvis. So we're going to open and close our knees so you can hold on to your pelvis, 2. Then we're going to lengthen our arms up to the ceiling or over our head. For those who need support, just do 2 more. I'll take you through it. Some of you might want to have a band over your hips. Just create a little bit more tension, or nothing at all. So my feet are hip width apart. My feet are closer to my seat bones. I'm going to squeeze my glutes, pushing into my heels. Really push into those heels, lengthen those knees away. Some of you might be holding onto the top of your pelvis, onto your hips to support you. I'm pushing into my heels, hips up to the ceiling, and we're going to open our knees, still pushing into your heels if you can. Don't lose alignment, and close your knees. We're not going on our tiptoes today. Open your knees, squeezing your glutes. Don't lose the alignment, and close your knees. Now, either lengthen your arms up to your ceiling or over your head, but some of you still might want to hold on to your hips for support. And you're opening your knees, 2 more, and closing your knees. 1 more, push into your hips, open your knees, pulling your belly button to the spine. Don't lose the alignment, hips up to the ceiling, and close your knees. Then tuck in your pelvis, C-curve your spine. Keep those arms lengthened over your head or up to the ceiling. And roll up every single vertebrae onto the mat. And then come into your crunch. Hold on to your hamstrings for support, or lengthen your arms out to the side progression. Then some of you will be getting on with your the bridge again, for some of you who don't like the progression. And teaser. Some of you might be holding on to your hamstrings. It's much easier without the weights, actually. Makes a big difference. Boat. And slowly, slowly roll down. We'll do another one. Remember, some of you don't have to have any equipment at all. So we're pushing into our heels, lengthening the knees away. Some of you are going to support, hold on to your hips for support. So complete alignment, lengthening the knees away. Squeeze the glutes, hips up to the ceiling, and you're going to open your knees, pushing into your heels, and close your knees, really firing up the glutes. Total stability. Opening, closing your knees. Lengthen your arms up to the ceiling, maybe over your head. Some of you are going to still be holding on to your hips as we open and close our knees. Close your knees. Open your knees. Complete alignment. Close your knees. Then I'm tucking in my pelvis, C-curving my spine. I'm really scooping my pelvis because I want to feel every single vertebrae hitting the mat. Either come back to center and start another bridge again, or we're going to come up into boat. Either holding onto your hamstrings or lengthening your arms out to the side, chest out to the sun, shoulders down the back pockets. And teaser, either lengthening your arms up to the ceiling or hold on to your hamstrings. We'll slowly roll down, boat. Finish off your bridge. And then hug your knees to your chest. and rock from side to side. You choose the stretch that's good for you. You might want to incorporate a little bit of core work by peeling your head and shoulders off the mat. Full body stretch. And we just roll to the side. And we're just, if you've got to come up to seated, just breathe continuously and do it slowly. And we'll just start our leg circle again. You choose if you want a band around your thighs. You know how it works. Choose the arm position that's good for you. You're wobbling all over the place. Lengthen your leg in front of you. The aim is to have the whole of your body in between that double glazing. So I'm going to lengthen and lift. Try not to imprint your spine, don't wobble. And I'm just going to do nice big circles. Relax your foot, all from the hip joint. Big circles. Really relax the foot, relax the muscles in the leg. 3 circles one way, and we're coming the opposite direction. Nice big circles. Really feeling that in the glutes, the thighs, and I can really feel that in my deep core muscles. I can feel that in my waist, and if I press in between my hips, I can really feel I've switched on my deep core muscles in the opposite direction. Remember to relax whenever you like, have a little rest, and then come back into position. Choose the arm position that's good for you. I've lost count of how many circles I'm doing. 3 one way, 3 the other. Really feeling that in the glutes, in the thighs. Let's just do our final 3. So we're just going to do another leg exercise. 1 more, and just pat it out. Take off the band, just pat it out. We're going to hug our knee to our chest. Remember, you can always lengthen the bottom leg slightly out in front for stability. So we're hugging our knee to our chest. Try to stay at hip height, just above hip height. Lengthen and lift, just above hip height. Hugging your knee to your chest. Lengthen out, switch off the muscles in the leg, relax the foot, lengthen through the hip joint, and lengthen and lift. Oh, feeling that in the glutes, just above hip height. Hugging your knee to your chest, lengthen out, lengthen and lift. Now, when you hug your knee to your chest, don't do that. You want to keep that leg at hip height and all slightly higher. Rest whenever you like, you don't want to do that. Keep that leg near just above hip height if you can. Let's do a couple more, feeling that in the glutes. Hugging your knee to your chest. Relaxing the foot. Lengthen and lift. Let's do 1 more. Hugging your knee to your chest. Lengthen out. Ooh. And final one. And just pat it out. So I'm going to be really nice. You don't have to incorporate your leg at all if you don't want to. So we've done a lot of glute work. You can have a little rest, but we're doing 3 bow and arrows. Or maybe you might just want to do incorporate your leg for 1 or 2. It's up to you, or nothing at all. So I have my arms in front, palm to palm, and I lengthen and lift my top leg diagonally across hip height, unless you're not incorporating your leg. Let it just rest, hip height. Really relax, lengthen through the hip joint, relax that foot. So I lengthen my top arm, longer than my bottom. My top arm comes across my bottom arm, across my chest, and I open up my bow and arrow, and I increase my range of motion with my legs. Stay at hip height if you can. Feeling that in the glutes. Then I close my book and swing my leg behind me. Stay at hip height if you can. Lengthen and lift. Now lengthen my top arm, longer than my bottom. Open up my bow and arrow. So I swing my leg in front. I'm increasing my range of motion. So it's okay, your range of motion might be here, might be a little bit deeper, might be deeper still. So I always say, range of motion is personal. And lengthen back to center. 1 more. Open up your bow and arrow. Remember, you don't have to incorporate the leg. We've been working hard today. One more, lengthen back to center with control, swinging your leg behind you. You're going to hold it for a couple of seconds. Bend the knee and just pat it out. We go straight into prone. We're not doing lifting our legs in prone today. You can choose if you want weights or a band in your hand. And I'm just going to show you this one. So your legs are max width apart. We're not incorporating the legs today. It's just upper body work. So my arms or my right arm is lengthened in front. Left arm is lengthened down my thigh. My legs are mat width apart, pushing my pubic bone into the mat, pull my belly button to the spine. So now the aim is to lengthen and lift my head and sternum and my arms, but you might be able to only lengthen your head and sternum, and your arms, you might only be able to take a little pressure out your arms. And as we swing my left arm up, out in front, and my right arm down my thigh, and rest. So we lengthen and lift. Can you see my range of motion? I can come off the mat by a couple of inches and rest. But some people might lengthen and lift head and sternum. Look down in the mirror. Bring your hands maybe a centimetre, not even that, or a little bit of pressure. And I lengthen my one arm up, out in front as one arm lengthens down my thigh. Rest. So I lengthen and lift. Swing my arms. It's called dart. I've written it down. Dart with floating arm. And back to centre. So I lengthen and lift head and sternum. Lengthen and lift, arms away from each other. Swing my arm, one down my thigh, one out, arm out in front. So I'm using weights. We use nothing at all. And rest. Lengthen and lift my head and sternum. Lengthen my arms away from each other. One arm comes down my thigh, one arm lengthens out in front. Swing them round. As my left arm comes down my thigh, right arm out in front. Rest. Or you don't have to rest. You can make it your own personal challenge, really feeling that in the waist. Rest whenever you like and come back into position. Or you might have weights in your hand and rest. Lengthen and lift my head and sternum. Look down in the mirror, push your pubic bone into the mat, pull your belly button to the spine. Bring my left arm down to my thigh, right arm lengthens out in front, rest. Lengthen and lift. Pause, pulling my belly button to the spine, lengthening through the joints. Let's make it our final one. Lengthen and lift. Lengthen my arms away from each other. And back to centre. Everyone capital E their arm and rock their hips from side to side. Just releasing any tension you hold in the lumbar spine. We're just going to do Cobra. Prep to lizard to full Cobra. So make sure your arms at capital E. And we're going to roll the marble forward. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Pull your belly button to the spine. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. Now have this feeling you're pulling your elbows back, pushing into your elbows, but they're not going to move, but just push into them. Helps you extend your spine. Opens up your chest. And lengthen back to centre. Now we're going to turn it into lizard. Roll the marble forward with your nose. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Push into those elbows, chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. Push into your left hand. Look over your left shoulder. Push into your left hip. Wrist issues, you stay on your elbows. Right elbow glued to the mat. And lengthen back to centre. Again, you roll the marble forward. Lengthen and lift your head and sternum. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. Feel like you're pushing into your elbows to extend the spine. I'm eating my hair. Chest out to the sun. Now push into your right hand. Stay on your elbow with wrist issues. Look over your right shoulder. Right hip glued to the mat. Left elbow glued to the mat. And lengthen, lengthen back to center. Full Cobra. Don't do full Cobra. You're just going to do Cobra prep for wrist issues. So roll the marble forward, chest out to the sun, shoulders down the back pockets. Push into your elbows first of all. Use the muscles in your back. Now push into your hands. Chest out to the sun, shoulders down your back pockets. Some of you might be doing full spinal extension with your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows tucked into your rib cage. Don't come off your pelvis. And lengthen, lengthen back to center. Everyone puts their hands underneath their shoulders and come up into cat and cow. For those with knee issues, follow is exactly the same. So you're going to be at the, so if you come up to cat and cow, the rest of you, but those with knee issues, you're going to lengthen the lift, opposite leg and arm, and you're going to hold. Because this is what we're going to do in 4-point kneeling. You're going to hold for at least, say, 6 to 8 seconds in hold. So the rest of us, we're going to do cat and cow. And for those with knee issues, I want you to come into a side fetal ball, stretching your lumbar spine. So the rest of us, we're going to be in 4-point kneeling. Make sure you're stacked. Stick out your bottom. Squeeze a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. Remember, you can turn this into turbo when you float your knees 1 or 2 centimeters only off the mat. Dip your chin to your chest, squeeze your glutes, round your spine, pushing into your palms, cat. You might turn this into turbo cat. Can you see I've floated my knees 2 centimeters, no more. Again, cow, sticking out your bottom, squeezing a tennis ball between your shoulder blades. Can you see, or you can tuck your toes under if you're doing turbo. And cat, pushing into your palms, squeezing your glutes, pull your belly button to the spine. You can try maybe turbo for 1 cat only, and the rest on your knees is up to you. And back to 4-point kneeling. We're just going to go straight into our 4-point kneeling with or without equipment, with or without a band. So make sure you're stacked with or without a band. You're going to lengthen opposite leg and arm away from each other. The aim is to get up to hip height and shoulder height. But it doesn't matter if you're just taking a little bit of pressure out your toes and your fingers. And we're going to see if we can hold it there today. See if you can hold it. Own personal challenge. Pull your belly button to the spine. Going to hold it. Own personal challenge. Come back into position. It's all about balancing that bowl of soup. We're going to hold it. And slowly, slowly, bowl of soup on your pelvis. Come back to center. We're going to do the other side. With or without a band. I'm taking on tension of the band. It's all about stability. Those with knee issues, if you're in prone, you're holding it like me. Pull that belly button to the spine, push your pubic bone into the mat. Those at 4-point kneeling, lengthen through the joints. Lengthen, lengthen, pull the belly button to the spine. Lengthen, holding, come back into position if you need to rest. And back to center. We're going to change it up slightly. You're going to lengthen out. And you're going to see if you can get your knee round your spine to your elbow and lengthen out. We're going to do 2 or 3 of these. If it's too difficult to incorporate the arm, keep your hands on the mat. 2, or you might be incorporating your opposite arm. Knee to nose or knee to elbow. We've done this before. Lengthen out. Total stability. With or without the band, we'll do the other side. So we lengthen out. You might see we're doing knee to nose or knee to elbow. So you choose if you want to incorporate your arm or keep your hand on the mat and do knee to nose. So either knee to nose or knee to elbow. Rounding your spine. Let's just do 1 more. So I'm incorporating the arm, but some of you might keep both hands on the mat. Final one, lengthen out, pull your belly button to the spine, let's hold it. And back to center. Everyone, your knees can be mat width apart if you can. Gluing your big toes together and come into a child's pose. Lengthening your arms forward. Push your chest into the mat. Walk your hands away. See if you can rest your forehead on the mat and just rock from side to side. Just getting your breath back. Pushing your chest into the mat. Walking those hands forward. Sitting on your heels. Now step over to 10 o'clock. Right hand on left, but I'm still walking those hands away. Especially my right hand. Pushing my chest into the mat. Sitting on my heels. Walk over to 12. Still walking those hands away. And over to 2. Left hand sits on right. I'm still walking the hands away, so I feel a lovely deep stretch down my left side. Sitting on my heels. And back to 12. See, curve the spine, squeeze the glutes. So really use your deep core muscles, pulling the belly button to the spine. See, curve the spine. And back to 4-point kneeling. We just do a regular thread the needle with or without the band. So make sure you're stacked. So for those not doing thread the needle, I think I've shown you before, you've got to do this one, either side. And then you do the other side when the rest of us do thread the needle. So my right arm lengthens out to the right or up to the ceiling is your range of motion with or without a band. Hips are set in stone, they don't move. It's rotation of my upper spine only. And lengthen back to center. Keep that arm lengthened. Feel it in the waist, keep that arm lengthened. Once your hand hits the mat, thread your right arm underneath your left. Pushing into your left hand. Only if you want to. You can lengthen and lift your left leg. Don't forget, it's a progression incorporating the leg. Keep the hips flat then. You can swing your left leg out to the side. As you unthread your right arm out to the side, up to the ceiling. Your range of motion. So your range of motion might just be out to the side. If you can get your range of motion up to the ceiling, squeeze the tennis ball between your shoulder blades. And lengthen back to center. Bring the leg in, we'll do the other side. Left arm out to the side, with or without small equipment. Up to the ceiling. I'm thinking about keeping my, I'm not opening up my hips, I'm thinking about keeping my hips completely flat. And lengthen back to center. Lengthen through the shoulder joints, feeling that in the waist as well as the shoulders. Then left arm threads underneath right. Push into my right hand. Only if you want to, you can lengthen and lift that right leg. Progression, you don't have to do it. Swing the right leg out to the side, keeping it nice and straight. And lengthen the left arm out to the side or up to the ceiling. Hip set in stone. Push into that supporting hand, open up the chest and lengthen back to center. Really feel that in the waist if I keep that arm lengthen. Bring the leg in, we come to seated and we slowly roll down. So you choose the level that's good for you. I'm just going to have to put my hair up. I'm a complete ragamuffin. So you choose the position that's good for you. We do it every week. If you want to put the bands underneath the arches of your feet. Or level 1, 2, or 3. So we're really going to relax. I'm going to go at level 2. And I don't want to see my elbows. Relax the feet, relax the legs. Lean back 1 inch. I'm scooping my pelvis, really squeeze my glutes, tucking my tailbone under, turning my spine into a wheel, pulling that belly button to the spine. So not only am I strengthening my deep core muscles, breathe, I'm teaching my spine to be really flexible. Slowly. And when you get down to the mat, hug your knees to your chest and rock from side to side. Crossing your ankles, pulling your knees apart. or you choose the stretch that's good for you. Now, if you just take the band and put the band underneath the arch of your right foot, left leg bent or lengthened depending on your flexibility, and push into that heel, feeling a deep stretch in the muscles in the back of your legs. Now you're going to lengthen your leg out to the right. Try not to tug on the band too much, but lengthen through the hip joints. So I can really feel my deep core muscles are doing the work there. I'm not going to pull on the band too much. I'm going to let my deep core muscles do the work. Feeling the stretch in my inner thighs, still using those deep core muscles. And slowly lengthen back to center. Try to relax the leg and lengthen through the hip joint. Put the band in the left hand to your right and lengthen over to the left. Feeling a lovely deep stretch down the lateral side, but I'm still feeling that in the deep core muscles. Lengthen back to center. We'll swap over. Right leg is bent or lengthened depending on your flexibility. Push into the heel. And lengthen that leg over to the left slowly. Try not to hold on to the band too much. All comes from the core. Lengthen through the hip joint, slowly to the left, to your right. And then slowly lengthen back center. Really slowly lengthening through the hip joint, feeling that in my deep core muscles. To your right. Look in the opposite direction. Slowly, slowly. Keep on lengthening. Shoulders always glued to the mat. And slowly lengthen back to center. Squeeze the glutes. Drop the band. Left ankle on right thigh. Really relax that right foot. Hugging your knee to your chest. Feeling the deep stretch in the left glute. We'll swap over. If you can lengthen your legs up to the ceiling. Right ankle on left thigh. Really relax that left foot. Hugging the left knee into the chest, feeling a deep stretch in the right glute. And just gently put your feet down onto the mat. Remove your block. Put the ball underneath your head. We'll just push into the ball for 8. Remember your chin tuck. Remember to breathe. Double chin. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, push. And release. And again, take a breath in. As you breathe out, you push. And release. One more. Take a breath in. So you breathe out, double chin. And release. Just gently roll your head from left to right. Really relax the muscles in your neck. And just use the ball to deepen the stretch in the muscles in your neck. And back to center. When you're ready, you gently roll to the side, really slowly, so you don't want to feel dizzy. And get yourself to seated. Breathe continuously. You might want to sit on your block to get your neutral pelvis. We'll just stretch the hips and the waist, stay weighted. We do this every week. So we lengthen up, breathe. So lengthen up your right arm, keep it straight, not bent. And lengthen over to the side, in between that double glazing. Shoulders down the back pockets, chest out to the sun, and lengthen forward. Look down at the mat, keep on lengthening, feeling a lovely deep stretch down one side of the back. It's my right, so it'll be your left. Now feel a deep stretch in my right waist and hips, so your left. And lengthen back to center, always pulling your belly button to the spine. Over to my right, your left. Stay weighted in the seat bones. Holding this stretch strengthens as well as stretching. Lengthen forward, look down at the mat, and keep that arm lengthened, feeling a lovely deep stretch down your right side. Feeling the stretch in the waist and the hips now. Lengthen back to center, always pulling the belly button to the spine. So we come to 4-point kneeling. For those with lumbar spine issues, you step forward and you come up with a straight back. For those with no lumbar spine issues, tuck your toes under. Pilates stance. Glue your heels together, toes out to 90 degrees, micro bend in the knees. Push into your heels, tailbone up to the sleeve, let the top of your body hang. As you restack your spine, but really pull the belly button to the spine, tuck the tailbone under, you're squeezing the glutes, and I'm restacking my spine in sequential order using my deep core muscles, not putting any pressure on my lumbar spine. And back to center. And we do some arm circles. Lengthen, keep lengthen. Up onto your tiptoes only if you can. Arm circles, lengthen. Squeezing your shoulder blades together, opening up your chest. Or you can stay on your tiptoes, focusing on a point out in front, pulling the belly button to the spine. All about complete stability, not security. One more. And back to center. And thank you.